I'd like to turn to Poland now. You have traditionally been furiously pro-American in terms of, efforts to keep them on board as a guarantor of security in Europe. You've termed the Greenland dispute, and again, this was a comment that I understand you made last week, a matter between the Danish Prime Minister and President Trump. Just briefly, do you still stand by that after everything that you've seen in the past days and weeks?
Of course, United States of America are the most important Polish bilateral ally, but we also appreciate a lot NATO. We are the part of NATO, and we feel responsible for NATO. This is the biggest alliance in the history of 20th century. I think, like Mark Rutte, the NATO is stable, NATO is solidifying, but we of course recognize some problems about the Greenland. And I'm looking at the problem of Greenland from the strategic side. We have Chinese, we have Russian. We feel in Poland Russian threat for 3 centuries even, and we understand it at all in eastern flank of NATO. And if we consider, ladies and gentlemen, that global GDP is consisted of 15% of European Union involvement and 15% of United States of America involvement, but according in terms of security, United States of America paying 65% for NATO and Europeans 35%, we have to consider what Donald Trump would like to say about the security, because he's responsible for security of the world as the leader, and he would like to support.
Do you really think you can stay out of this? Do you really think you can stay out of this row? Do you really think that, isn't this the moment right now for solidarity in Europe? Isn't this key to a united and a strong response?
There is the necessity of solidarity in Europe, but there is also the necessity of building the good transatlantic relations. And I think that transatlantic relations are very important. We know in Europe, Alex, all my European friends knows how many mistakes had Europe done after and before 2022, and Donald Trump tried to convince our European partners that we have to solidify, and his voice is very important because of the financial, because of the strategic, geopolitical point of view. I, of course, hope that it will be solved thanks to all partners on the diplomatic way, and
how far are you willing to go to have good transatlantic relations? Does that mean giving the Americans Greenland, selling the Americans Greenland? How far should European allies go if the Americans do move on Greenland?
We have 10,000 American soldiers in Poland. We buy American military equipment, which is the best on the world. South Korean is also very good, but American is...
and Finnish tanks you buy.
And Finnish tanks.
A little bit of a commercial break here,
We have the biggest army in East Central Europe. Poland increased the percent of GDP for military service almost to 5%. So we feel responsible for Poland. I believe in Polish soldiers, in our alliance, but United States of America, for all eastern flank of NATO, are very important ally. And those relations are also based on our history. This is the relation of values. We have common independence heroes in Poland and in United States of America. So I think that we should solve this problem on diplomatic way. Of course, I appreciate Denmark voice is natural. It's our partner, Denmark. But I'm looking at the Greenland as strategic point in the geopolitical issue between free world, democracy's world, independence, and with Russia.
I'd just like to add something and kind of reset us a little bit. We're talking about can Europe defend itself, and something that's really interesting is that we have not said the word Russia or Ukraine, I think, so far in this conversation. And it just goes to show you actually how the conversation has changed. But I'd like to really take it back to Now, defense capabilities, the spending that also we were talking about, Polish president, we know that you're already projecting to get to 5% of GDP this year. You're doing all of this spending, hundreds of billions of euros being ramped up, but to still be dependent on the Americans. And I'm talking about key things. So air transport, strategic command and control systems, high-end intelligence. Do you get the sense, especially after the events of the past days, that Europeans are really in a state of urgency to quickly ramp up the ability to handle a protracted conflict without the US? What is the plan B if diplomacy fails?
I understand your question, but I would like to assure you that our Polish independence and sovereignty is very strong. The first, I believe in Polish soldiers, of course, in our history and our readiness to fight with everyone who would like to invade Poland. So we felt the strong country on the eastern flank of NATO. But we also believe in diplomacy. It's natural in NATO, our cooperation with NATO, with European Union. Diplomacy is, of course, the part of the security guarantees. But what we can do as the Republic of Poland, and our friends also doing this, I see the President of Latvia, Baltic states, we, of course, made the decisions to increase the budget for military service. And it was the great achievement of Europe. And what have happened? In Hague, Donald Trump pushed Europeans to increase the military service cost and GDP. Also, European Union need Donald Trump to be pushed by him to increase this budget. It's not good way, and many countries inside Europe still haven't done this. So, you know, we have big problem about the feeling for our security and responsibility for secure European Union. Madam Kelly, you are not happy with this answer, I suppose, of Mark Rutte, that we need Donald Trump in the European Union, but we believe in our military service in Poland. I would like to add that Poland won with the Soviets and Bolsheviks. Finland won with the Soviets and Bolsheviks in 20th century. Japanese and Afghans won with the Soviet Union. So we are ready in our countries to secure our independence, but we need geopolitical and some relations in Europe and in the world to be stronger.
I want to turn to Poland now. And Mr. President, I'd like to ask you, we mentioned a little bit earlier, I mean, you know, the threat that is posed by Russia, its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. You know this, of course, better than anyone, being on the eastern flank there. Do you think, you know, in all of this talk, in all of this conversation over Greenland, is Ukraine the casualty here? Do we run that risk?
Can you repeat? I don't understand. Is
Ukraine? The conversation has been dominated in the past week and days.
Yeah, about Greenland.
About Greenland.
Yeah. Okay. And no,
where is the attention now on Ukraine? What could this potentially mean for Ukraine? What could it mean for the resources that they need so desperately in order to maintain this fight on the European continent?
I think that Ukraine issue subject after the attack of Russian Federation is most important, not only for Poland and eastern flank of NATO, but for all free world. And I think that the problem around Greenland doesn't mean that we don't think about the Ukraine. We support Ukraine in Poland, in NATO, in European Union. United States of America supported Ukraine, and we have to consider this problem as the main problem in Europe nowadays. And I'm very happy that we are going, maybe slowly, but we are going to long-lasting peace in Ukraine. This must happen, I think. But I'm not afraid, Madam Kelly, that the situation around the Greenland means that we forget about Ukraine. We we understand the problem about the Ukraine and still feel the Russian threat. We are still in Eastern Central Europe under the Russian threat, and I think that we are in the middle of the hybrid war. This is the peculiar Soviet composition which we have known for 100 years. You know, this is the composition of a military force, information, disinformation, propaganda, and we are nowadays in the middle of hybrid war in the European Union.